Welcome to Mind Body Yoga. My name is Maureen Spencer, and I am your yoga instructor and hostess of the show. Would like to welcome you to participate in this 30-minute program that will introduce you to what's called Hatha Yoga, very simple, basic form of stretching and holding exercises that will give you increased flexibility, increased circulation, and increased strength in your muscles. It will also work your bones in the sense we're going to be doing some handstand kind of positions that we compact the bones. And what we do in Hatha Yoga is to use the body like a gym. Rather than go and lift the weights up, we use our body to lift the weights up. So in the yoga, the science of yoga, which was codified back about 6,000 years ago, actually developed in India, it's a system of health that includes the physical, the mental, the emotional, and spiritual health. So when we talk about the physical, the body is your temple for your soul. So this is something that's going to hold the spirit, or what we call prana, the prana energy. In other cultures they call it ki or chi. We call it life force or life energy, universal life energy. Everybody has sort of their maybe name to it and within their culture, and a lot of religions are based around the Holy Spirit and spiritual energy. Statues you might see with white energy coming out of their fingers, or halos around statues that represent glows of white light. And that's essentially what we are. About 90% water gelled together to make this organic thing called your temple. And in that temple generates energy. It's who you are, it's your personality, it's your whole essence. So if you're a very positive, loving person, you will put out a very loving, positive field, about a space around you, that others will sense. People will be very comfortable to come into your field, to want to be with you and recognize the fact that you seem to have some kind of internal energy or power about you that's maybe just a bit unspoken. It just is a presence. On the other hand, people that are tired and exhausted and fatigued and irritable and angry and eventually end up being very hostile and maybe in some situations get violent and abusive, are people that just hold in all that energy, and that's going to damage the temple. The temple's not going to be full with loving energy. It's going to be a very negative presence. You also will have a field around you that will be that type of field. There are times you walk up to somebody and know that you should just maybe move away a little bit, a sign of danger. And there's about 2 feet out of your body, what's called your space, can be a very negative, tense type of a field. What yoga helps us is to keep balance. There are times all of us go through life in which we're going to get into a more negative mode because we're tired or we haven't eaten and we haven't thought of our spiritual sense and connection to a higher power source, and we get a little low, the batteries get low. So yoga is just one technique that introduces you to this concept of bringing in energy, replacing the trapped energy that we call negative energy, and letting it come out through exhalation through your breath. Other types of techniques that work this kind of energy field are in China. It's called Tai Chi and Qigong. Qigong is the meditation practice that they do in order to generate the energy within. And the Tai Chi are those movements, fluid movements of working the energy fields and moving your balance of your body. Each culture sort of has this kind of a sense of the movement of the energy field and the exchange of the oxygen. So what we're doing today is one of the techniques called Hatha Yoga. We're going to start with some of the breathing techniques. How do we get this energy in? Well, we bring it in through what are called pranayama. The pranayama breathing exercises is how we get prana in. So in India they call it prana. That's the name, the Sanskrit word for this energy that exists within the oxygen. And what research has shown, actually machines, electromagnetic fields can go up and find that there are positive and negative within the air, nodes of energy. And the key point is to bring in the positive and let out the negative. Keep yourself balanced. So we do that by the pranayama breathing exercise with deep breaths. We're going to start with what are called complete breaths. And we're going to push the stomach out when we inhale. Inhale through your nose, bring it down deep to the base of your lungs, collect all the negative stuff, and in your mind think, I'm letting this go. I'm getting out of me all that holding on, all those emotions and trapped, stressful energy that you've kept in maybe from all day long or for years that you've kept in, stuffed emotions. Very effective breathing exercise to start to connect with that and get rid of some of that excess energy. You're going to close your eyes. You're sitting in this cross-leg position called the lotus. Half lotus is if you bring your leg up this way, but just for the sake of beginners and being kind of in a basic pose, just keep your legs down on the floor, kind of an Indian-like position. Hands are on your knees. You're going to close your eyes, keep your spine straight, and inhale through your nose and draw the breath down deep to the base of your lungs by pushing your stomach out. Hold your breath for a count of 3. Now we're going to exhale and bring the stomach in. Let that air come out through the nose. Again, inhale, stomach comes out. Chest comes up. Hold the breath. And we're going to exhale, bring the stomach in. It's coming out through the nose, chest comes down, let all that excess energy come out. One more. And exhale. Now if I had a measurement of your pulse, your blood pressure prior to starting and after you just did that, you'll see a difference. You'll see a lowering in the blood pressure, a lowering of your pulse, your skin would start to relax, your lactate levels would come down that are generating the muscles, muscle tension starts to get released just by shutting the shutters and going down. So we go from beta waves to alpha, slowing down the brain waves, and if you go into a meditative state, you go down to theta and into delta, very deep sleep at that healing stage, that very low energy field. So now what we're going to do is another set of breathing exercises called the cleansing breath. We're going to bring our hands together under our chin, lift the elbows up, inhale through the nose, hold your breath. Now exhale through the mouth, cleanse it out. Inhale, and again. Bring your hands back down onto your knees, lift your arms up and grab the energy of life. Inhale, exhale down. And pushing down in the chest, the rib cage. Inhale out. These are exercises because we're working the lungs, the muscles that make our lungs inflate. They're just like balloons and they have to have that air brought in, drawn in through the diaphragm and through the ribs, through the chest. Hands together in front, inhale, arms go out to the side, expand the chest, inhale, and exhale out. And the last one is called alternate nostril breathing, and this is to balance the right and the left side of the brain. The right side of the brain deals with creativity, intuition, spirituality, emotions, all that kind of right domain. When we think of the right domain thinking, people right, left, right-sided person. The left-sided, quote, person is somebody who's into intellect, logic, reasoning, sees things very black and white, very straightforward. So this is where the balance comes in. You can call it liberalism and conservatism, positive and negative, right and left, male, female energy. Males tend to be considered more left-sided with that logic and reasoning. Women tend to be much more into the emotional and the intuition and spirituality domains. We are both. And that's the key thing, is to keep yourself centered. You want to pull from all parts of your body. This technique is very effective if you have a job that activates mostly the left, or you're a mother, or somebody who's a counselor who's working always the right. You want to keep things balanced by placing your fingers up, 2 fingers up at your 6th chakra, the middle of your forehead. You're going to block off the right nostril and inhale through the left. Now you block off the left and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. And exhale through the right. And then a complete breath, bring the energy back in. So through the sinuses and through the nervous system, there's the stimulation. The air is still going to go down into your lungs, but there's this extra stimulation we get when we do that kind of a exercise, that alternate nostril breathing. Now we want to stretch out the upper part of our body, okay, the neck area. You're going to place your hands on your knees, and you're going to pull down on the elbows as you drop your head. Keep your spine straight, and it's called the neck stretch. You want to stretch out the back of your neck. A lot of tension builds up in the neck area from the kinds of work you might do, or driving cars, or holding kids, that really pull you down to the earth and create this hyperextension that starts to get very tired. So pull down, release the energy through your breath, keep breathing, and release. Chin comes up. Now you pull down on the chest, pull down on the shoulders and the elbows. And let it out. Just exhale out the stress that builds up all underneath here. And release. Head over to the right and pull on the left. And release. Head over to the left and pull on the right. I've talked in other shows about the big difference between smiling and frowning. When you smile, it takes just 7 muscles, but when you frown, there are 48 muscles involved with frowning, or negative sort of emotional and facial features. 48 muscles, but if you walk around smiling all the time, and you're only using 7, and your body will believe you're happy. Release. Drop your head down. That's something you might have to be reminded of. Have other people remind you just to smile. And so that activates a more positive response. Now we're going to do the neck roll. Let your head roll to the back. Exhale to the back. Inhale to the left. And exhale forward. Inhale to the left. Exhale to the back. Inhale to the side. Nice and slow. Just feel the release of that tension that builds up in the neck area. And take a deep breath. The next one's called vibration. And vibration is to build up and strengthen the pectoralis muscles and the arm muscles, the deltoids and biceps, and also in this area here through the wrist area. You're going to place your hands together, get the elbows up, and you can push as hard as you can until they vibrate. Okay, keep going. Short breaths while you're doing it. Keep vibrating, and you will feel those muscles all tensed all through the chest. Keep pushing, and release quick. And just shake out your hands. Now we want to stretch out, hyperextend this area of the body, which gets a lot of times a lot of tension from being cramped from different activities that we might do, holding on to things or the computer keyboards. Place your hands behind you, behind your back. Fingertips pointed to the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Chest comes forward, but the head goes back. And just send the energy up and down your arms. A lot of this really feels good. So many people tell me when they do the yoga, oh, I just feel like I'm waking up, like my body's just finally just releasing trapped energy that's been sitting there for a long time. Now we're getting ready to go into what are called the asanas. The asanas, that's a Sanskrit word that means postures. And these positions were named after animals and insects. So as I go along, you'll be hearing things like the butterfly, which is what we're going to do next, or we'll do a cat, or a forward-facing dog. They're all series that are named after animals or insects. The yogis back 6,000 years ago had the comfort and the joy of observation. They'd sit on mountains and watch nature. They'd watch what all the animals did and what bark they ate and trees and berries they stayed away from. They watched their movements, how they flew and how movements moved through them. And so that's why a lot of them are named after these animals and insects. So it makes it a little easier sometimes to remember them. The butterfly is not going to be flying like this because you don't want to pump the muscles up. We're stretching and releasing. So you get into this position as best you can, even though your legs may be very tight and you'll be like this, but eventually it will let go. You're going to inhale and exhale coming down. Let out the excess energy you're releasing in your back and in your middle thighs and come down and drop your head. And breathe. I do a very shallow breathing because my lungs can only fill up in the upper lobes. My diaphragm is up, pushing. So just very shallow but good deep breaths. Inhale coming up, grab onto your toes, bow and arrow. Left leg comes out, and if you have to keep your knee bent, that's okay. You always modify it to your body. Don't worry about competing or thinking you have to do everything the instructor does. It's your body. You listen to your true self, what your body's telling you through your pain, where the tightness is, and where you may have to work a little harder to get the area of your body to stretch out. Bring the left foot into the groin, bring the right one out to the side, and we're going to do what's called alternate leg pull, one leg at a time. And what happens with the alternate leg pull, we're sitting straight forward, we're going to turn to twist the back, and we're going to be stretching the hamstrings. So you can place your hands together, inhale coming up, turn to the right, and come down as far as you can, grab onto your ankle. Don't worry about getting all the way down now. Now pull your chest down to your knee, and then the last thing you do is drop your head onto your knee and start rubbing that hamstring. So you're trying to stretch and pull the back muscles and release the tension in your legs. Inhale coming up, nice and slow. This is what helps to build the muscles and strengthen them in the back. Left hand goes on the floor and lift like you're waking up. And lift the body and stretch and bring that energy from the tip of your fingers down to your toes. And come down. Nice and slow. Go to the other side. You always want to keep your energy field nice and quiet, not be moving with too much effort. Go to the left and stretch it out. Yoga really feels good once you get yourself flexible. It just takes about a good 6 months of doing it before things start to actually get to this point that they're really stretched out. You'll notice a difference within a month of doing yoga. If you do it every week with us, if you join the show every Wednesday and just make this your yoga class and stretch out for a half hour, you'll see a difference in your life. The more you do it, you can always tape the show and then do it every day, just a half hour. Everybody can find that in their lives, just a little bit of time to actually take care of the body. Remember, this is your temple for that energy, so you want that energy to flow. Full leg pull, so we're going to open the legs, and this is to strengthen the lower back. We're going to be coming forward and hold. This isn't to get yourself flopped down on the ground. A lot of my students might be gymnasts or previous ballerinas and get this wonderful loose energy all through the hips. The key thing here is to hold yourself up so that you're working against gravity. Inhale, coming up, come forward, and now hold. And work that back muscle, energy up and down the spine. So with intent, when you have intent and you intently send energy somewhere, that's a big difference than just mindlessly just going into a position and not think about what you're doing. That's why I call this mind-body yoga. I want you to connect your mind with your body, have this union, which is what yoga represents, the union of mind and body. Now stretch it out to the left and stretch it over to the right. Back to center. Inhale, coming up, and bring arms down. We're going to bring our legs together. I'm just going to turn this way so they can see this better. The next one's called the plane. Going to bring your hands together. Make sure you're sitting up straight. Arms come straight up. Release. Hands go behind you. Fingertips are pointing to the back. Point your toes, and you're going to lift. Head goes back. Now this throws weight up and down those arms, compacts the bones. So what you want to do is just get the benefit of preventing osteoporosis, to calcium leaving your bones, compact them. Lift your body up. This is like lifting weights. Rather than lifting it this way, we're lifting it this way to get all that calcium, minerals to stay in those bones. The next one's called the boat. And this is a balance. We're going to balance on our buttocks. So you're going to lean back and grab onto your feet, your ankles. Lean back and get your balance. Now if you roll back, that's okay as you start to come up, because usually this will throw the balance off. Come up very slow. And of course, it depends on what your hamstrings are doing. If you have really tight hamstrings, you may not be able to get all the way up. But eventually you will as you develop that flexibility. They're like elastic bands. Eventually they'll have memory and they'll be able to go back to that stretch that you had previously. Now legs back out again. We're going into head to knee pose. Okay, head down towards the knee. But what we're going to do is modify this a little bit. As we come down, grab onto the ankles and bend the knees. Okay, we're going to forfeit the hamstrings for now to get this good lower back stretch. And just bend yourself forward. Lift your head up, release that tension. This is very heavy, the head. And you're going to drop the right leg and place your head on the left knee. Rub the right hamstring. Release the other side. Now both legs straight out. Come down, grab onto your ankles and get down as far as you can. Breathe. Again, very short breaths because that diaphragm is up. And come back up. Okay, now we're going to roll over and work on the ankles. So we're going to sit back on the ankles and stretch them out. We're stretching out the quadriceps. Hands together, lift, inhale, lean your head back, and hold. Release the lower back, let that lower back stretch, and release. Now the other way on the toes. This may hurt because usually if they're cramped into shoes, they get very, very tight, the joints. You want to have every joint, including the knuckles of your fingers and your feet, fluid, energy moving, always moving through it. So that's what a lot of these are. They're painful, but just let it go with the breath. Just keep breathing and sending energy down to those toes to release that energy. And release. Next one's called the ultimate body stretch. And the ultimate body stretch is to release energy all through the pelvis and abdominal area. You're going to open your legs and grab onto your ankles and very slowly lower yourself down. You may not be able to go all the way down, and don't ever force it. If you just sat up like this and I can do that, and flipped yourself down and you weren't ready to do it, you could rip and tear ligaments and things in your knees. So always be very gentle and kind to your body. Listen to it. There's no need to jar it, or to push it and force it. Always listen to the pain, and that pain is a message. So we sit back, and if this feels okay and you don't feel like it's really excruciating, you come down to one elbow, and if that feels all right, go to the other elbow. If that feels all right, then you come all the way down. Arms up over your head and stretch. And take nice deep breaths and breathe the energy up and down from the knees, all the way up to your hands. It's a wonderful release. The ultimate body stretch. You just feel everything just release all through this area that's usually very jammed. Come up. And now we're going to go into what's called the cat. Cat's a very simple and very powerful one to do every morning. If you can just remember that after you brush your teeth and you wash your face and clean yourself up, think about scrubbing the joints and getting some energy to flow through the upper part of the body by tipping the heart upside down and getting blood to your brain, and get energy coming through the wrist and through the shoulders and through the hips. You get on your hands and knees. Okay, your arms are straight down from the shoulders. You're going to lift your head up and you're going to lower the stomach. So you're going to have this lower back, it's going to have an arch in it. Inhale. Draw the energy, and now bend your elbows a little bit. Drop your head, tip the heart upside down, and exhale. Bring your stomach up. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Great. It's very simple to do, but very powerful. When you wake up in the morning, you have all those stiff joints from all the immune complexes. The immune system works all night long to clean you up while you're sleeping. It's not reacting to stress and getting involved in your daily activities of life that can have a lot of stress component to it. And the immune system is involved with the stress response. There's research that's shown that some of these cells, our immune cells, actually have receptors and actually can manufacture or receive neuropeptides, and these are produced by the brain, chemicals in the brain that make your body respond to stress. So the more stressed you are, what you're doing is activating your immune system for the stress response and not letting it do what it should be doing, taking care of cancer cells, taking care of viruses and bacteria. Often people get run down and they get the flu, they get sick. It's because they were having too much stress on the system, and the immune system just can't handle it. So at night, all this work is going on when you're sleeping at night, and that's what you feel when you wake up in the morning. You're just so stiff and you want to move all that energy around. Just a simple little one that you can do. Next one is a balance called the right leg, right arm. Right leg comes out, right arm comes up next to your ear, and just try to balance. Okay, it might be a little wiggly at first, but eventually that will get nice and strong. Bend the leg, reach back, and this is called the half bow, and you lift. Release, drop yourself down, lift that leg up. And now we're going to stretch it behind us into what's called the forward-facing dog. Dogs stretch like this in the morning. They stretch themselves out. Release the energy through the sacroiliac joint, through the root chakra, the base of your spine, all the stress that builds up in the lower pelvis. Okay, bring your head up. You're going to bring the right leg forward into what's called the warrior. Okay, we have the warrior. And we're going to lean back. Release, lunge forward, very gently and slowly come forward. Bring your hands on the inside to the floor and drop yourself down. Exhale. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, going down to sit on the left heel. Stretch the hamstring again. Drop your head down. Lift your head up. Next side. So we're going to repeat just that same pattern. First, the arm and the leg, the bow. Stretching things out. Lift, strengthen the back. Stretch it out behind you. Up to the warrior. Make sure you have your balance before you lean back. Release. And down. Yoga should be very fluid once you get good at it. It's a wonderful feeling to just release all that energy through the breath and work from one asana to the other. Now we're going to tuck and take a little rest called the child's pose. We're going to drop ourselves down, palms are facing up, head on the floor, and just release the shoulders. Grab on to the heels, top of the head on the floor, and push forward. This is called the rabbit. You're pushing and trying to stretch and release energy in the upper back. Come back down, arms above your head, the shoulder stretch. Watch your fingertips, walk them out, and drop your head and just move the fluid through the shoulders, up and down. Lift your head up, toes into the floor, straighten out your body and bring it down very gently. If this bothers your lower back, just drop your knees down. If not, keep your body out. This also builds up the arms. It's like a handstand position. You're keeping that body up. Now drop down. Use your arms to come down. Leave your arms there, and we're going into the cobra, like a snake. We're going to inhale, push with your hands, lift one vertebrae at a time. Come up and breathe up and down the spine. Exhale, coming down. And then we'll run our back into what's called the resting pose. Like I said, get our legs turned out to the side, and palms are facing up. And now get the heart rate down. Whenever you do a back bend or you're pushing up into the cobra, your heart starts pumping. So in yoga, always get back centered again. Don't let yourself get out of control. Same principle in daily life. If you're finding that you're having too much stress, just start to deep breathe. Go into a resting pose and you'll get the heart rate down. Okay, we're going to do a hip stretch. Bring your right knee in, stretch it up, and rotate it. Let's get the fluid moving through the hips. Exchange that fluid. The left side. So this is the lower energy in the chakras, the chakra system that I've talked about earlier. 7 different batteries through the body that relate to different areas and feed energy into those areas. So just rotating, getting all this energy moving. Bring both knees in, arms out to the side, waist roll. Legs go to the left and your head to the right. With a nice oblique twist on the back. Inhale as you cross the other side. It's a wonderful stretch for the back. Cross. And cross. We're almost getting to the end of the program. Just a few more. Legs come straight up, hands behind your head. This is for stomach pull. Right leg comes in, lower the left leg down. We're going to use this leg as a weight to pull on that stomach. Switch. So this side of the muscle is being tensed and pulled now. Switch. Exhale as you go down. Inhale coming in, exhale going out. And down into resting pose again. And just let your body relax. And now we're going to come up very slowly. And I'm going to finish by just a description of the chakras. I've been talking about the chakras, and if you missed some of the earlier shows, you may not understand what I'm talking about. But there are 7 batteries, human batteries in our body, that have been actually through instruments shown that there's this collection of energy that's in these areas of the body. The root chakra is the base of your spine. The color is red. Fight or flight response. You think of a bull, we always put that red charge up, and that's your kundalini that comes out. 2nd chakra is in the abdomen, 3rd is in the stomach, 4th in the chest, 5th in the throat, 6th in the middle of your forehead, and the crown chakra at the top of your head. So we have red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, and white. And it's like your color of the rainbows. If you have beautiful energy, as I talked about earlier, and a beautiful glow of space around you, you'll be a loving rainbow. If you have too much red and you're angry and hostile, you'll put that out, have a red field. If you're too emotional, there'll be too much of that in your field. So the key to yoga is to have a balanced chakra system. And what we've just done in the 30 minutes is to balance that energy, get you back in health, and we hope you'll join us next week in Mind Body Yoga. And we'll just end with some pranayama breathing. Just close your eyes and go into your deep breathing.